So in this video, I want to cover 4 important themes that I think everybody must focus on in order to give yourself the best chance of recovering from the pain and dysfunction associated with shoulder impingement. As a physiotherapist, there are a number of different ways that you can attack each one of these different themes, but I'll go through an exercise or two on each one to make sure that you get a good representation of what you might be able to do today to ultimately not only improve your pain and dysfunction, but hopefully get to the underlying cause of why you are dealing with a shoulder impingement in the first place. Because what I tend to see clinically all the time is that we look at shoulder impingement as a standalone isolated issue, when in actual fact I find it to be more of a consequence of something broader going on. And it's most likely that the impingement that you're experiencing is just a part of your shoulder mechanics that aren't tolerating the broader environment that those shoulder mechanics are functioning within. So ultimately, if we're not going after the broader context of how your back and your shoulder function together, then we might be missing the broader underlying context which has asked your shoulder to become painful and sore in the first place. And before we get to these 4 themes, it's important that you are doing something to help manage your acute pain in the interim, whether it be making sure that you have adequate pain relief for those moments where your pain may be quite substantial, particularly over night time when you're trying to sleep. And the second is activity modification. So making sure that you're aware of the activities and movements that irritate your shoulder the most, and not blindly trying to force your way through those activities, but ultimately respecting what range you have available for yourself in the short term and trying your best to work within that pain-free, respectful range of motion to make sure that we're not consistently jamming up and irritating the local structures in your shoulder while we're trying to improve the broader environment that that irritated tissue is within. And the reason why these 2 ideas are important is because if you are trying to work really hard on the things that I'm about to show you, but your pain is out of control and you're consistently doing movements and activities that are irritating your shoulder, it can be hard for that tissue to de-irritate as quickly as possible, despite the things that we're going to try and do to help facilitate that process. So the first of these 4 themes that we're going to talk about is that thoracic or upper back joint mobility. One of the things that often gets missed with shoulder impingement is that if you have stiff and tight upper back joints and upper back rib joints, not only just tight muscular tissue in your upper back, it can act as a serious handbrake to the natural way that you load up the structures in your shoulder. A good example of this is that if you can imagine that to get your arm up above your head as high as you can, your shoulder blade needs to slide up your back to allow your arm to come up into those upper ranges. But if you have some stiffness and some tightness in your upper back, it acts as a physical block to the natural motion of your shoulder and can easily jam things up. So by taking away that handbrake in your upper back, we can feed some slack into the irritated tissue, the impinged tissue of your shoulder, and give it a better chance to move smoothly without jamming up into a position that it shouldn't be jamming up into. And as we go through on the channel all the time here, one of the best ways that I've found to quickly mobilize stiff upper back joints and soft tissue is by taking a ball, placing that ball into the area and trying to free this up. And we're going to get you to lie down onto the ball just off to the side that you want to mobilize. And again, what we're looking for here is we're looking for tissue that feels stiff, tight, possibly tender, although it may not feel tender for everybody. And then what I want you to do, you're welcome to leave the ball here if it's quite intense. You can take a couple of deep breaths in, squeeze the muscles underneath so that they become active. You can relax, you can allow that soft tissue to free up. You can work your way up and down just to the side of that spine, looking for those stiff restricted tissues. What we can do in a respectful way is we can start to incorporate respectful movement into this area to try and shear free this stiffness and ultimately free up the restrictions and feed more slack more quickly into those impingement sites in the tip of your shoulder. Now obviously, if you feel like you impinge in a certain range, see if you can find some restricted tissue that you can resolve within that range, but ultimately we want you to bring your arm up as high as you feel comfortable, again without irritating your shoulder. And as you should find is that the more you do this, the looser that tends to get and the further your arm tends to go, potentially before it becomes sore and uncomfortable. Then once you spend a little bit of time doing that, you can move the ball around again, let the ball press in, use shoulder motion to free that up if you feel comfortable. You can come out in different degrees of range as well. You can come out to the side just to see if there's an area of this range that you can free up that doesn't irritate your shoulder. And if you can work your way up and down these tissues, as low as you feel you need need to, just following the stiffness and tightness, anywhere from the top of your shoulder all the way down to the base of your shoulder blade, if not a little bit lower, can influence the way that your shoulder is functioning in a negative way. And then what you should hopefully find is once you've spent 2 or 3 minutes just systematically working your way up and down the inside of that shoulder blade, trying to find anything that feels stiff, tight, or restricted, if you then reproduce the same motions that you did beforehand and maybe expose some of your symptoms in a respectful way, you'll hopefully find that not only do you feel a little bit looser or a little bit freer back there, but by feeding a little bit more slack into that impinged area, you may find that your symptoms may feel a little bit nicer than they did previously. But give that one a go and let me know down in the comments below how that made you feel and how that made your symptoms feel, so that others can get a sense of how important this particular part of your shoulder impingement rehab might be. And so the second theme that I think everybody dealing with shoulder impingement needs to work on is improving the mobility of the tissue at the back of your shoulder, more so in the form of shoulder internal rotation. Again, clinically what I find is a lack of shoulder internal rotation tends to force the shoulder into positions that it shouldn't be in order to help you complete tasks that require more shoulder internal rotation than you may have to offer. And as a visual, what we tend to find is if you're in a nice posture and you have your arms out to 90 degrees, ideally what should happen is you should be able to rotate your forearm down to somewhere close to 90 degrees without your shoulder position changing throughout. But if you are missing, say, half of your shoulder internal rotation, but you still need to get your hand down to a certain position that would require more range than you have, the way that your body can compensate around this is by dumping your shoulder forwards and completing the task from here. And again, if you're dealing with some irritated, painful, impinged structures in your shoulder, if you are missing some of that shoulder internal rotation, again, because the structures at the back of your shoulder may be restricted, then it can set that tissue up to impinge and become dysfunctional over time. So we want to make sure that you have a strategy or strategies that you can employ to ultimately improve that shoulder internal range of motion, feed some slack again back into that impinged area, create a better environment for it to function in, and hopefully get those irritated tissues to settle down quickly and to stay de-irritated forever. And a great exercise to help improve your shoulder internal rotation is a simple across the body stretch. Now, if you have some shoulder impingement symptoms, we need to make sure that this position doesn't irritate your shoulder in any way. If it does, we'll revert to another exercise that we'll go through after this one to hopefully achieve the same results. But this across the body stretch, as simple as it is and as well known as it tends to be, is fantastic at opening up some of the tissue at the back of the shoulder, which often acts as a handbrake to that shoulder internal range of motion. And how the exercise looks officially is, again, you want to be up nice and tall. You want to have your arm across as far as you feel comfortable. You can bend your elbow if it feels more comfortable for you. You can move your elbow up and down to try and find the ideal range for you. But the way that I want to do this stretch is you want to move your arm across into horizontal flexion as far as your tissue allows until you find a tightness at the front. If you can find a tightness before you feel an impingement, then just go to that tight position. As we speak about on the channel all the time, once you've found a tight spot, what you have to do is push back against the stretch. So in this case, I'm pushing my elbow back into my hand without moving it to activate that tightness, make the tightness work for 5 to 10 seconds. By doing that, it creates a reflex in your brain where maximal tension through that tightness, when followed by maximal relaxation, reflexively allows that tissue to give instantaneously. And then what you should find is wherever you found your tightness began to begin with, you might then find that you've instantly improved the amount of range of motion you have in that area. And keep doing this activity until you either stop making change or stop before you feel like some of the tissue might be starting to get a little bit irritated by that position. Now, if you're someone who can't quite do that exercise because of how uncomfortable it may feel for you, we can take a similar approach with the ball. We can place the ball into the back of your shoulder and then just move on to that tissue. You can have your arm out to the side. We want to find that tissue that's restricted, tight and tender. Again, if you hit a spot that feels that way for you, as I can here, we want to squeeze that tissue, tense your shoulder muscle up as tight as you feel you can. Hold that for 5 to 10 seconds. Again, get your brain involved so that when you stop tensing, you might find that the ball sinks in a little bit deeper than it could before. And you can go hunting anywhere around the back of that shoulder, more towards the shoulder blade, the back of that shoulder blade as well if you want to. Ultimately finding anything that feels tight, giving it a squeeze, making it work for a few seconds, then relaxing, and then hunting around for anything that you find meaningful before sitting up again or standing up again, coming back into that same position, and then rotating down. For me, it feels smoother to get there, even if it doesn't necessarily, or it may visually look a little bit further. But ultimately, I feel like I've got more access to my shoulder internal rotation range of motion by feeding some slack into the shoulder from the back, which ultimately is often tight for a lot of people dealing with shoulder impingement. So once you've started to feed some slack back into those impinged areas via upper back mobility and posterior shoulder mobility in the form of shoulder internal rotation range of motion, the next thing we need to focus on is make sure that the muscles that support your scapular or shoulder blade function are also doing their job properly. Because again, even though the impingement tends to be at the tip of the shoulder in that subacromial space, but ultimately that subacromial space is just an expression of what your scapula is actually doing and how it's positioned. So we want to make sure we give you some exercises that strengthen some of the scapular stabilizer muscles to again support that shoulder impingement from underneath and from behind to give it the best chance of doing its job naturally. And another simple way to do that is with some scapular retraction exercises lying face down or sitting or standing up in a second with a band. So what this might look like for you is we want to make sure that we get you lying face down. Now obviously it can be awkward to lie face down on the ground, so if you can grab a rolled up towel and place that into a U shape just so you've got a place to put your face, having your arms by your sides. But ultimately what we want you to do is pull your shoulders and your shoulder blades back, trying to make sure that you're activating the muscles in between your shoulder blades and holding this position for 5 to 10 seconds, trying to find some fatigue in the muscles in that area. Now, if an exercise like this feels too easy for you, what you can do instead is when you get into this position, you can then lift your hands up about an inch or two off the ground, and we can use the weight of your hand, the weight of your arm, as a form of resistance to make this a little bit harder for you to do. And what you'll find is very quickly, once you pull those shoulders back, lift your hands up off the ground, you may start to shake a little bit, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Just make sure that you don't start to lose that shoulder blade position. If you do, pop your hands back down again, reposition, squeeze those shoulder blades together, then lift your hand back up again. Try not to have your hands close to your side because you can sort of inadvertently take some of the tension out of the exercise by doing that. Have your hands a little bit out to the side. Really prioritize keeping your hands up, shoulders back. It's really important that you don't lift your hands up first before you pull your shoulders back. The sequencing is really important. We want to pull your shoulders back first. Once you're set in a great position, then lift your hands up. And again, hold this position for 5 to 10 seconds. And then what you can do after that is if that does become too easy and you're looking for a bigger challenge, you can then start to add a little bit of weight to your hands in the form of an actual hand weight or something like a tin of something or a bottle of something, just to build up the challenge within that exercise, to really work those scapular muscles to put your shoulder and the impinged structures into a better, more anatomically correct position. And then if you're looking for a broader challenge again, what we can do is grab a resistance band of some sort, and we can do some scapular retractions or some shoulder blade back exercises with some resistance at the front. And essentially how that can look is we want to keep those arms relatively straight, and we want to pull the band open in an arc, squeezing the shoulder blades behind you together as best as you can. Now we want to make sure that you're not trying to poke your chest forwards. We want to make sure that your back is a pole and your shoulder blades are basically rotating back and around that pole, ultimately trying to get the muscles in your shoulder blade stronger, improve the endurance, create some fatigue here so that again your shoulder blade has more stability to support your shoulder impingement from underneath. And again, we want to do enough of these so that you feel like you generate some fatigue. You can play around with the height of the band and obviously how much tension you have on the band. You're obviously welcome to double the band up if you find that yours is too easy, but we want to make sure that you have enough of a challenge to create that fatigue, to tell your muscles that they're not quite as good as what they could be, so that you can find a long-term solution for your shoulder impingement. And so the fourth and final theme that I think everybody needs to focus on when trying to recover from shoulder impingement is potentially the most important, and that is making sure that your upper back and shoulder postures are as good as they possibly could be at all times. Now, when we talk about posture, it's not overly interesting, it's not very sexy to talk about posture, but ultimately the positions and shapes that you put your tissue into every single second of the day often define how that tissue can be made to feel given enough time. And what I find clinically as a physiotherapist when talking about this with my patients, intuitively we often default to our standing shapes and say that your standing postures need to get better. But beyond that, that, what I find clinically is that it's often the stationary, sedentary, sitting shapes that rob us of the tissue quality that we need to avoid shoulder impingement over time. And what I mean by that is, if you can take stock of the shapes and postures that you get into the most throughout the day when sitting, which again, as we talk about on the channel a lot, that can look like sitting on the couch watching TV. It can be at a desk or at a computer or a laptop. It can be someone who sits and reads all day or uses a phone all day. If you play an instrument, if you drive a car, it doesn't matter what you do with your tissue because you're allowed to do whatever you want to do with your body. It's designed to be used. But often if we're left in certain shapes and unaware of the quality of those shapes over time, then the reason why the upper back gets stiff, the reason why the tissue at the back of the shoulder gets tight, the reason why the scapular musculature becomes weaker over time, because we're putting them in a position over time that asks that to happen without us ever really knowing. So it's really important that if you've come to the point where you feel like you've now developed a shoulder impingement and you want it to go away as quickly as humanly possible, we can't have a conversation about fixing any shoulder dysfunction if we don't then talk about the position that your back is in, then the position that your shoulders are in every second of the day when you're in those stationary, monotonously boring shapes. And how I tend to cue my patients into doing this is essentially when you're standing, if you stand up comfortably tall, imagine someone's grabbed you by the head or grabbed you by the hair, they pulled you straight upright, and just imagine that you're taking the weight of your shoulders back. I find a common misconception of ideal shoulder posture is that everyone tends to cue you into being shoulders back and down. But that implies that the position that we're often getting into is forward and up. And while on the surface that may make sense that if we become tight over time that our shoulders sit a little bit higher, but I think you'll agree with me when I say that there aren't too many people that you'll see slouching in a posture where they're rounded and lifting their shoulders. For me, what I find clinically and personally is when we tend to lose good posture because of gravity, our shoulders tend to drop and roll forwards. So ideally what we want to try and get you to do is not take your shoulders back and further down again, but actually take them back and not lifting them up, but just taking the weight of them a little bit more so you don't feel like you're resting on those shoulders. So if you can sit up nice and tall, have your shoulders comfortably back and nail this position consistently, and then arrange your environment around this shape, whether that's pulling keyboards closer towards you, mouse closer towards you, the steering wheel closer towards you, or even just sitting in a position on the couch where this is reflected more often than not, and we can start to reorientate that impinged tissue, putting that into a better place so that it's loaded up better. But if you're trying to work on the back of your shoulder, your upper back, and your muscular strength in those areas, you'll have a much easier time accruing that good function if you're not ultimately and unknowingly dragging yourself back down into that hole consistently. So again, ultimately, what I find with my patients clinically is that the fastest way to resolve shoulder impingement and the mechanics that underpin that dysfunction is to actually not talk about the shoulder impingement specifically on its own, but to talk about it in context to what else might be influencing how that tissue is being loaded, why that tissue has become dysfunctional in the first place, so that we can have a much broader and ultimately more thorough rehab process for you. So again, I genuinely hope that was helpful. Please let me know in the comments down below which one of those 4 themes that you think you need to work on the most. But as always, thank you again for watching. I genuinely hope that was helpful. I hope to see you next time. Bye.